Have you ever felt like a locksmith, holding a key that you believe was forged for one specific, impossible lock? You stand before a person who is a beautiful, intricate, and tightly sealed door. You see the potential inside. You can almost feel the warmth of the room that lies beyond it. And so, you try your key. You turn it, you jiggle it, you push. Sometimes, you hear a click, a moment of hope, a glimpse of the door creaking open, and your heart soars. But then, just as quickly, it's sealed shut again, leaving you standing on the outside, in the cold, blaming yourself, blaming your key, blaming your hand for not being steady enough. And you think, if I just try harder, if I just become a better locksmith, maybe then it will open for me. This is the quiet, heartbreaking work of loving someone who is emotionally unavailable. It is a pattern that can feel like a curse, a recurring nightmare where you are always giving your heart to someone who cannot or will not hold it. And after it happens again and again, you are left with one devastating question. What is wrong with me? Why do I keep choosing this? Why do I attract this pain? Today, we are going to dismantle that question. We are going to walk into the very heart of this pattern, not with blame, but with a lantern of deep, compassionate understanding. Because the reason you attract emotionally unavailable people has almost nothing to do with your worth, your beauty, or your legality, and it is not your fault. It has everything to do with a map you were given a long, long time ago. A map you have been following without even knowing it's in your hands. The first and most profound truth is this: we do not attract what we want. We attract what feels familiar. Your conscious mind, your heart, your soul, they may be screaming for a deep, reciprocal, and safe love. But your subconscious mind, the part of you that runs the show, is drawn to the emotional atmosphere it was raised in. It seeks the emotional weather it knows how to survive. If you grew up in a home where love was conditional, inconsistent, or tied to a parent's fleeting moods, then a relationship with someone who is present one moment and distant the next feels normal. It feels like home. The anxiety of waiting for a text back, the desperation for a moment of connection, the small crumbs of affection they give you after days of silence, these don't feel like red flags. They feel like love. Or at least, they feel like the version of love you were taught to recognize. Your nervous system learned the rhythm of this dance, the push and pull. A secure, consistent, and readily available love can, in contrast, feel boring, overwhelming, or even suspicious. Your system doesn't have a blueprint for it, so it defaults to the familiar ache it knows so well. The second reason is that you may have been trained as a fixer from a very young age. This is the echo of the parentified child, the one who had to become the emotional caretaker for their own caregivers. You learned that your value, your worth, your very role in a relationship was to heal the wounds of others. You became an expert in seeing the brokenness in people, in seeing their potential, the beautiful soul buried beneath their pain. So when you meet someone emotionally unavailable, you don't see a closed door. You see a project. You see a person who needs your unique brand of love to be unlocked. Your subconscious thinks, here is a familiar job. Here is someone I can save. If I can get this person to finally open up to me, if my love can be the one to heal them, then I will finally prove my worth. I will finally succeed where I failed before. It is a subconscious attempt to go back in time and win the love of a parent or caregiver who is emotionally distant. You are not attracted to their unavailability. You are attracted to the opportunity to finally complete your oldest, most painful mission. But this is a mission you can never win, because you cannot love someone into changing who they are not ready to be. This leads to the third, and perhaps most subtle reason. You may be emotionally unavailable yourself, in a different way. This is not to place blame, but to offer a mirror. If you grew up learning that your needs are a burden and your feelings are too much, you become an expert at suppressing them. You may be a phenomenal giver of care, but you are terrified of receiving it. You may be excellent at emotional intimacy from a distance. An emotionally unavailable partner is, in a strange way, safe. They will never ask you to be truly vulnerable because they are terrified of overwhelming you themselves. They will never overwhelm you with their needs because they are disconnected from their own. They allow you to remain in the familiar, comfortable role of the giver, the caretaker, the one who is strong. The relationship allows for a certain level of closeness, but never so much that it requires you to truly let down your own walls. It's a silent, unconscious contract. I won't ask you to truly see my messy, needy, vulnerable self if you don't ask to see mine. This allows you to avoid the terrifying risk of being truly seen and potentially rejected for who you really are. The fourth reason is that you are addicted to the cycle of intermittent reinforcement. This is the same mechanism that makes gambling so addictive. If you pulled the lever on a slot machine and won every time, it would quickly become boring. If you lost every time, you would quickly give up. But because you win sometimes, unpredictably, your brain gets hooked on the possibility of the next win. An emotionally unavailable partner puts you on this exact same cycle. They give you days of distance, coldness, or silence, and then, just when you're about to give up, they send you a loving text. They have a moment of profound connection with you. They give you a crumb of the affection you've been starving for. And the relief, the neurochemical rush of that win, is so intense that it feels like a powerful high. It keeps you hooked, chasing that next moment of connection. Your brain mistakes the intensity of the cycle, the pain of the lows, and the relief of the highs for the depth of love. But it is not love. It is an addiction to a pattern of uncertainty. So, how do we break this pattern? How do we put down the old map and draw a new one? It begins with the most radical act of all. Forgiving yourself, you must look back at all the times you chose the closed door and understand that you were not foolish or broken. You were a survivor, operating from a set of instructions you were given as a child. You were doing the best you could with the tools you had. The blame you've been carrying is not yours. Set it down. The second step is to begin the sacred work of emotional archaeology. You must be willing to turn the lantern inward. Where did this map come from? What did love feel like in your childhood? What was the emotional weather in your home? What did you have to do to feel safe and seen? This isn't about blaming your caregivers. It's about understanding your own story. It's about recognizing the original wound so you can stop trying to heal it in the arms of people who only recreate it. Then, you must learn to become your own locksmith. You must learn to turn the key on your own locked rooms. This is the process of reconnecting with your own feelings and needs, the ones you were taught to suppress. It's about asking yourself, not what someone else needs, but what do I need right now? It's about learning to sit with your own discomfort, your own sadness, your own anger, without judgment. When you learn to give yourself the emotional availability you crave, you become less desperate to get it from others. You fill your own well, so you are no longer dying of thirst. And finally, you must recalibrate your definition of chemistry. You have to consciously recognize that the old feeling, the anxiety, the chase, the nervous energy of uncertainty, is not chemistry. It is a trauma response. It is the feeling of familiarity. The new chemistry, the one you must learn to trust, often feels quiet. It feels calm. It feels safe. It feels like ease. It may feel boring at first, because your nervous system is not used to peace. You must teach yourself that boring is beautiful. Consistency is a love language. Safety is the ultimate aphrodisiac. This is not a journey of learning how to pick better people. It is a journey of becoming a different person yourself. A person who finds the familiar feeling of their own self-worth more compelling than the familiar feeling of an emotional chase. A person whose own love is no longer a key for someone else's locked door, but a key for their own. You do not attract emotionally unavailable people because you are unworthy of love. You attract them because a part of you learned, long ago, that this is what love feels like. But you can unlearn it. You can teach your heart a new song. A song that is steady and clear and calm. A song that feels, finally, like coming home. If this story resonated with you, know that this is a silent struggle for so many. If you feel comfortable, sharing a thought in the comments can be a way to break the cycle of silence. And if you'd like to continue this journey of healing and self-discovery, we invite you to subscribe. It is not your fault, and your real love story, the one with yourself, is just beginning.